You're listening to the Fabtrepreneur Show, and this is episode 50. In this episode, we're chatting with Chris Ducker of chrisducker.com and youpreneur.com, and we're talking all about building a personal brand and finding the virtual team to build and support your business. Hey guys, it's Mariah.
And I'm Megan, and I'm so excited for you to hear this interview. Chris Ducker is a serial entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and author of the bestseller Virtual Freedom. Originally from the UK, Chris has lived in the Philippines for 15 years, where he hosts the annual Tropical Think Tank Mastermind event and has founded several businesses, which combined house over 450 full-time employees. He's also a popular business blogger and podcaster at chrisducker.com and the founder of the personal branding business community, youpreneur.com. Let's get started.
Hi, Chris. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being on the Femtrepreneur Show. So as we get started today, I want you to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at chrisducker.com.
Well, I'm just a sales guy. That's my whole thing. I try to remain as humble as I possibly can with my sales roots. I'm very proud to be a sales professional, and I started in the sales business when I was 17 years old, skipping out of college, much to my my father's dismay at the time. But no, I mean, look, at the very core, I'm a sales and marketing guy. That's it. Although I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years, I have 4 different businesses all under the same umbrella. I have almost 500 full-time employees. We make a multi 7-figure revenue business. I have a popular blog, podcast, best-selling book. I speak, I coach, and do all that fun stuff as well. So clearly, I'm nowhere near as busy enough. I need to find more things to do.
I was going to say, wait, just real quick, like what are those 4 different businesses under the umbrella so that anyone who's listening can understand what that
Sure.
looks like?
So I own a corporate B2B call center facility. I own youpreneur.com, which is a online membership mastermind for personal brand entrepreneurs. I own virtualstafffinder.com, which is a virtual staffing recruitment hub. And then I also own a separate advise/invest company as well, where I advise and invest startups both here in the Philippines, which is where I'm based currently right now, and also back in my home country, the UK as well, which I'm going to be moving back to early next year.
I was going to ask you what time it was there, because when we first hopped on, I was like, isn't it going to be like 1 a.m?
No, it's the other way around. But I am actually coming to you from the future right now. It's all very kind of Marty McFly at the moment. It's 9 o'clock in the morning over here, so it'll be your evening the day before in the United States.
It is amazing. Well, that is super cool. I feel like I have now a million more questions about how you manage to run 4 companies with 500 employees, because that's where I feel like our business is going, but I know that might be a conversation for a different day. It's so interesting though. So, okay, right now your business is amazing and huge and you're super successful. And like, I've been following you for years and years and I always knew about your work, but what did you do before you started your online business? Like, let's take it back to how you got where you are now with your super awesome business.
Sure. So, I mean, like I said, entrepreneur for 14 years and really focused around the first couple of years were consulting work with everything from infomercial businesses. So I in the very early stages, I would write scripts for the infomercials that you sort of see at 1 o'clock in the morning when your channel says, but wait, there's more if you call, that kind of stuff. That was me. So I
you have
wrote
the best voice for it too.
Well, I mean, I actually did some voiceover work as well, believe it or not. But it's so that was kind of the early stages of the consulting side of things. I started getting into call center consulting. So, here in the Philippines is a real hotspot for call centers because of their really, really strong English language. And so back in the, what we're talking about, 2004, 2005, I started to get contacted by more and more US-based businesses that wanted to set up their own smaller call center facilities here in the Philippines. And so I did that for a couple of years. And then I realized, well, hang on, I've got all the contacts. I know how to set everything up. I'm a sales guy. If I can't create my own call center and make millions of dollars, then nobody should be able to do it. And so that's exactly what I did. I opened up the Live to Sell group, and the rest is history, as they say. So I was building I was building that business up very nicely for 3-4 years or so. And then I did what a lot of entrepreneurs do, and I hit a brick wall at 180 miles an hour and burned out. I burned out because I was doing, again, what a lot of entrepreneurs do, and that's work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for years and years and years, because society has kind of deemed us to believe that you've got to hustle and grind to be able to become successful. And this is a conversation I've had with Gary quite frequently. I'm worried about him as a friend, and I'm like, dude, you got to slow down. I can't slow down, man. I got to keep going. It's all about the hustle. And I'm like, I love Gary, I truly do, but I do not believe in that mantra. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
Because when I hit burnout, it was really painful. Like, I'm talking hospital time, acute exhaustion, depression,
I've been there.
medicine, the whole kit and caboodle. It wasn't pleasant at all. And so that's when my journey into the online business world began. In 2010, I started blogging about how I was going to remove myself from this very successful but very large and all-consuming business by the end of 2010. And so I was blogging, started podcasting April 2010, by the end of the year, not only had I removed myself from my business, I had to hire 8 people to do it. So that's how many hats I was wearing. Wow. But ultimately, what really happened here through blogging and podcasting was I realized that, the internet is for more than just email and silly cat videos on YouTube. You know what I mean? And so
as good as those are.
I know, so good, so good. But frankly speaking, it really opened up my eyes, because by the end of that year, I'd had created an email list of 5,000 or 6,000 pretty loyal, like open rates of 60+%, pretty loyal subscribers to the blog, and people wanted more of it. And so carried on blogging, carried on podcasting, started getting asked to speak at events. Spoke at events. A book deal came along. Virtual Freedom I signed the deal right before Christmas in 2012, and then wrote it 2013. It came out early 2014, and by then my personal brand at chrisducker.com was really, that was where it was all about for me. I mean, it opened up so many doors for me. It was, without a doubt, with all of the events I've been to, all of the mentors I've had, all of the success, easily, hands down, building my personal brand was without a doubt the most important, life-changing and game-changing thing that I've done from a business perspective.
Yeah, that's how I found out about you, was through your book and your personal brand, and kind of finding just in the beginning of 2014, I think, was when I first found out about your book and saw it online and was like, oh, awesome. So how did you know? I have a question, because you're talking about your transition from this like super awful burnout. Like, I've totally been there. A lot of my audience knows that I spent, 6 months in and out of the hospital a year ago because I just hit a wall, became very, very sick, and worked 20-hour days for a year straight, and just didn't take any breaks. I'm getting the
shakes just thinking about it. You're taking me back. We need to hang out. We need to hang out is what we need to do, right?
I know. It gives us PTSD to talk about it. But it's obviously a very terrible thing, but I feel like I didn't know how to get out. I feel like I didn't know. How did you have that vision to say, I can remove myself from my business? I can have virtual freedom? Because I feel like when you're in that low point, like you said, it's not only physical illness, it's depression, and this point where you're just like, I've built this huge trap that I live in. How did you know? How did you even see a way out of that? Were you just like, oh, I'll just hire all these virtual assistants and everything will be great? How did you figure that out?
Not quite. I wish it was that easy, right? I think what it was this was the messed up thing of the entire situation. I think I needed to have to be admitted into hospital for a couple of weeks to actually realize the mess that I was in, if I'm to be really honest. I'm lucky to have a very supportive, very loving wife. And so, not only is she involved with me in the businesses, she's half of them, quite frankly. But she obviously she gets me, she understands me more than anyone on the planet. And so we actually went away after the burnout. That was early December 2009. And after the burnout, between Christmas and New Year, we went away. And I talk about this in Virtual Freedom in the introduction, where we went away to a resort here in the Philippines, no devices, nothing, no laptops, no phones, the whole thing. We left the kids with the grandparents, and we said, like, if there's a problem, here's the resort number, call us, we need to take a few days off. And so we went. And what happened was, throughout the course of the stay there, we would grab, like the little notepads next to the phone in the room, and then there would be, the napkins on the bar, and this, that, and the other. And I was just writing down stuff. This is God's honest. We were just writing down stuff of the things that, I hated doing, the stuff that I just despise doing these things at this point in my life. The things that I felt that as a business owner I should be doing more of, to be able to grow my business in a more savvy, smart manner, and all these things. And what happened was, when we got back to the house and we sat down, we started kind of grouping these little notes into these 3 different buckets, so to speak. And it turned out to be the 3 lists to freedom. That was the exercise that's kind of right at the beginning of the book, and it pops up 3 or 4 more times in the book because it's so darn important. And so we had these 3 lists of things I don't like doing, things I can't do or I struggle with, and things that I feel I shouldn't be doing as a business owner. And it didn't have a sexy name. It wasn't called the 3 List of Freedom at the time. It was just, this is how I'm going to get out of business hell. And it was the realization was, holy moly, look at these 3 stacks of paper here. Stuff I hate doing, stuff I can't do, but I'm doing it anyway, and stuff that I feel I shouldn't be doing as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. This is it. This is the way out right here. And so we had to develop the plan. Like I said, it was a 1-year-long plan. It didn't happen just like that overnight with 1 or 2 VAs. This was a plan. It was a 1-year plan. We went from, this is where we are now, this is where we want to be. What do I need to do to get there, basically? And so we just reverse engineered it back, quarter by quarter, month by month. And like month 1 was getting out of email hell, because I was sitting inside of Outlook on my laptop. Good old Outlook. Let's only use 1 device for all of your email. That's just 1 device, right? So 8 hours a day I was spending inside of in my inbox. It was absolutely insane. So that was the first thing. Everybody, don't email me. I don't care. If you want to tell me something, come and talk to me about it. I'll be in the office for 7 hours a day. That's when you come and talk to me about it. No more emails. And I realized that I wasn't actually missing out on a whole lot, not getting copied into all these email threads and everything. So that was the first thing. Then obviously we moved the email to the cloud, and I discovered Gmail, and that changed my life. Now I can get email on any device anywhere on the planet, right? So that was a total game changer. And so, it was just one thing after another. And like I said, by the end of the year, we'd hired 8 people. I had to hire a recruitment manager. I hired a training manager. I hired an IT. I was running IT. I don't know what to do with. I don't even know what to do with this cable. Like, this cable gives me headaches. What am I doing?
And you're like, no, I can be the tech person.
Right,
I can do
with
that.
a huge server and hundreds of phone lines and all this stuff. Like, this is mad. What am I doing? So that was the realization. Was like, this just cannot carry on. And so, luckily, with the support of Mrs. Quack, as she is now affectionately known as on social media. She has her own hashtag on social media. It's great.
That's
so
adorable.
Mrs. Quack got involved. She kind of kicked me up the bottom a little bit, and that was it. We were able to do it. But here's the thing, and I'm sure that you can attest to this, Mariah, because you probably felt yourself, even after the burnout, and even as fresh as a year or so ago, you got to be careful you don't slip back into it, back into your old ways, right? So that was where
habit.
Right, and that was where, that's where really the systems and the processes come into place to make sure that doesn't happen. And honestly, being held accountable not by your customers or by your partner or yourself, but by your staff. Like, I actually tell my staff, people I pay, if you see me
Megan
doing
this,
call me out on it, because I shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. If you see me that my light is green on Slack at 9 p.m., you're like, Megan's like, get out of the email. I can see that you just logged in somewhere. Stop it. Go to bed. Go relax. Like, my team is very on top of it, and they're like, no, stop looking at that. Go to bed.
Obviously they care about you. They appreciate you, and they understand the importance that you hold within the enterprise itself. And the other thing is, you can't be productive working 15 to 20 hours a day. It's just, I can't see it as a possibility in my life. For me, it might be different for Gary or for somebody else, but for me, I cannot do it. So I went, just to wrap this little thing up, I went from 15 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, to now not working Fridays for almost 4 years now. Right, so I have a 3-day weekend, which my family love me for, obviously, right? Monday to Thursday, 9 to 4 p.m. That's it. And I work here at my home. Like, I can flip this camera around right here. This is where I shoot the videos. This is the Ducker Zone set right here.
Oh, that's so cool.
The whiteboard is over there. So this is my domain right here. My facility with 400 plus staff is literally 15 minutes in that direction. It's a 3-floor facility, and I don't even go there anymore because I don't need to. Yeah.
That's amazing. If you're listening to the podcast and you want to see Chris's office, he just turned his camera around and showed us. So you can go to our YouTube channel and check it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's like, so in February, we made a plan to implement Fridays off for the core team. So Megan and Bev and I are like starting to take Fridays off. I think as of like 2 weeks ago we started, which has been amazing.
It's been an adjustment though. I think we keep falling back into the habit of like, well, I could use Friday to get ahead. And it's like,
and it's hard. It's hard with your mobile device, right? Like when it's there with you, it's hard not to look at those notifications when they come through or whatever, like, I'll just have a quick look at Facebook or I'll just have a quick look in the email or at Slack or something like that. So it's hard. I get it totally. But here's the thing. And I have no idea what you guys intend to do with your No Work Fridays. That's a hashtag as well, by the way. I have no idea what you have planned to do. But for me, it's actually all about my wife. It's all about my wife completely. So we might attend yoga together in the morning and then go grab like a double bill at the movies. Or we could just lounge around the house watching Netflix all morning. Or for me, it's about my wife because obviously the little one is at school. I don't have any kids around. It's going to change. She's expecting again. So there you go.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm obviously a sucker for punishment. And so it for me, that's our time together because we don't really get the time throughout the course of the week to just be with each other during the daytime, right? And so we make very good use of it. We make very, very good use of it. And it's great.
I love that. You've given it a purpose.
Yeah, and if you want to have like long weekends away, you can really get long weekends away because it's just a nice setup and it works brilliantly for us. It really does.
Yeah. One of the things I wonder, for everyone listening is, and I wonder, Chris, if you have sort of like something you would say to people who feel like they're headed down that road to burnout or down that road to being hospitalized, like you and I both were at that lowest point. I know for me, I felt like I didn't know what my limit was until I reached it, and I don't know if I would have listened to anyone telling me to slow down. I don't think I would have. But if you could tell someone in our audience who really needs to hear like, look, stop yourself before you end up in the hospital, what would you say to that person?
Yeah, look, to clarify, you wouldn't have listened to anybody. I didn't listen to anybody. I didn't even listen to my wife, and I'm actually scared of my wife. You know what I mean? So, I don't think that. I don't think you would have listened to anyone. We don't, because we're in our own little bubble. As entrepreneurs, we're very strange beings, right? Our DNA is very different to the other people on the planet, and I think
the normals,
the minions, right? I truly believe that it doesn't matter who's talking to you. You're not going to listen to them. And that's why I believe that, the internet particularly has played such a huge role, I think, in stopping a lot of burnouts because people can see conversations and hear conversations like this. They can understand just how brutally obstructive it is in somebody's life to have to go through a burnout. And they can do what they can to avoid it. Maybe they'll see the signs. That's the thing for me. You will see the signs, but you will just choose to ignore them.
Just ignore them.
Right. The signs are, obviously working more than, 6 to 9 hours a day, right? If you start to do that every single day, every now and then you might have, you've got a launch coming up or a new product you're putting together or whatever. Yeah. Maybe you got to do a few extra long days here and there. But if you're doing it every single day, that's a problem. If you are putting off social life to carry on working, that's a problem, because we need that social interaction with the ones that we know and love, right? If you are living on caffeine, if you're doing more than just a couple of cups of coffee a day, if you're drinking coffee late into the afternoon, that's a really good sign of burnout for an entrepreneur. I've read a lot about that. If you're eating crap and not looking after yourself, that's a sign that burnout is around the corner.
Always using the busyness as an excuse to go to McDonald's.
Right.
That's me.
It's
That's
like
what I do.
It's like when somebody says, oh, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to exercise.
Right.
No, you do.
That was me.
You just choose not to, because it's not the priority. The priority is the business. It's the work. And so, these are the signs. For anybody listening or watching this, those are, the very simple signs that you are heading for an episode of burnout. So if you start doing all that stuff, if the drive-through at McDonald's becomes more tempting than, a homemade chicken salad, then you've got problems on your hands around the corner, and you've got to try and avoid them.
Yeah, for sure.
I do feel like it's also about learning more about yourself. I know for me, when you're listing all of those things out, self-care, as far as like a health perspective, I know that's my go-to. Like that's step one when I'm feeling stressed out and working too much and like on the path to burnout. That's phase one. It's like the diet goes out the window, the working out stops, and I can tell. So it's also learning your own flags and like what's the first or second like indicator.
Yeah, and one of the best ways to get, and we all need to exercise. If you think you don't, you're lying to yourself. One of the easiest ways to make sure that you get that into your day is to do it first thing. It's just to get it out of the way. I hate exercising. Like, I absolutely despise exercise. I truly don't like it at all, but I do it every single day. I have a cross trainer downstairs. I have a TV in front of it. I get on there. I can do 4 miles in 30 minutes, and then I get off. I do some ball work. I do some resistance band stuff, because I had back surgery because I was sitting in that chair for 15 hours a day. I can't lift heavy weight, so I have to use resistance bands. I have a 45-minute session every single morning where I just do whatever I need to do just to sweat and use my body.
Yeah.
And I do it first thing in the morning. Before I got on this call with you, I was doing it downstairs. So, that's... Yeah. You just got to get it out of the way, particularly if you don't like it. Particularly
one
if
of
you
the things
like
I
it.
tell people too is like, to me, I always come up with my best ideas while I'm working out, and I feel like I solve problems that I'm just banging my head against the wall. I can't figure out what we should do, or I feel like I need clarity.
Yeah.
Running on the treadmill, doing kettlebells, like something like that, I'm going to be like, holy shit, I know the answer. Or like, I know exactly what I need to do. Everything is coming together in my mind. And it only is when I'm distracted by working out and sweating and being in pain is like when I actually make business breakthroughs, I think, that are really meaningful.
We're not exactly the poster childs, are we, for for exercise? I mean, here I am saying I detest it, and you're saying I get my best ideas when I'm in pain at the gym, right?
I know. It's not healthy. I'm not saying anything about entrepreneurship is healthy.
No.
Okay, so I have a couple questions about creating this freedom. Like if you're anyone who's listening, you're like, holy shit, I don't want to get to that point, or you've already been to that point. You know that you need to create more freedom. I want to talk a little bit about the virtual freedom, the hiring, the virtual assistant stuff, and then we can go into personal branding, because I have a really sort of like juicy question I want to ask you that we might disagree on. So I hope you're okay with that.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I have my feathers ruffled. Don't you worry. That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Don't want to put you on the spot, but I might just do that. So, so for someone who's listening, who a lot of our audience is like in that spot where they need to make their first hire, they need to figure out that first person that they should bring onto their team, a virtual person, virtual team, virtual assistant, maybe. Couple of questions. When, what do you see as being the most strategic first hire for a lot of people? And at what point do you feel like someone has reached the threshold that they're ready? Like, when does someone know that it's their time to hire someone? Is it like you should be making X number of dollars per month, or you should be feeling XYZ? Like, what is the threshold for hiring, and what is a good like first hire to be looking at?
So I'm assuming very heavily the listeners and the viewers of this show and the people that are on your mailing list are online entrepreneurs. I'm taking that.
Yeah, like course creators, digital products.
So if that is the case, the first hire that they should be making is a GVA, or a general VA. So a general VA will alleviate more day-to-day tasks from you, or for you rather, than any other particular virtual staffing role that's out there. And the reason why you want to do that first is so that you can spend more time on doing things like creating your courses, launching your courses, interacting with your community, building your email list, the stuff that's really important as an online entrepreneur, right? So a GVA, just a little rundown of tasks that can potentially, they can handle for you. They can set up and manage your social media profiles on a daily basis. That doesn't mean that you don't go on there and respond to questions and comments and things like that. You must do that. But I'm talking about loading up, some kind of automatic type of posting software. Like we use MeetEdgar, and I love it.
Yeah.
So MeetEdgar, load that all up with your archive. So many people have a ridiculously great blog or podcast archive, but they're not promoting any of their old stuff. It's insane.
Right.
It's not out of date. It really isn't. So you've got to utilize VAs for things like that. They can manage your calendar. They can manage your YouTube channel, upload videos. They can upload your podcast episodes. They can put together podcast artwork using Canva. They can do all these sort of types of things that you probably are doing yourself at this point. And because of that, once you alleviate all that workload, you've got all these extra hours every single week. That you can then go ahead and start, investing it into more kind of monetization type ways. But really, the list is endless. I have a blog post that I think that all of your viewers and listeners should check out, because it will give them a very clear picture as to what they can do with a VA. So in fact, I've got two. So the first one is chrisducker.com/101. That's the numbers, 101. And that's a list of 101 tasks that you can delegate to all the different types of virtual assistants that are out there, right? So that's the first one. The second one, if they want to just kind of zoom into the GVA, that general VA role, they can go to chrisducker.com/25 tasks with an S at the end. So that's 25 tasks that you can directly delegate to a general VA as an online entrepreneur. All right, so I think those two blog posts right there would be very, very helpful for everyone. And I know many people use that as a bit of a blueprint to kind of get going with their GVAs when they hire them. And to answer the second part of your question in regards to when is it the time to do it, you'll know. Overwhelm will hit. It's not a dollar amount. Anybody that says that, I call BS on it. You will know when you start hitting overwhelm, when you just say things like, "Oh my God, I've got so much to do. There's not enough hours in the day. How am I going to get all this done? I've got to launch next week." And blah, 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 blah. If you're doing that, it's time to hire some help. You know what I mean? So it's different in everybody's journey, because some people grow their businesses and their brands much faster than others. And so you can't say, oh, you need to do it after 12 months or after 6 months or whatever it is. It's a personal thing. Overwhelm will hit. If you're doing things right, you want it to hit. But the most important thing is how you're going to actually handle it when it comes your way.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I think if you're sitting there and you feel like a lot of things are slipping through the cracks, or you're not, you're working 16-hour days and yet you don't feel like you've really made a dent in everything that you have to do. Those are really good signs that like you need to outsource. And I would say outsource like the minute you can afford it.
Absolutely.
Don't wait until you feel like, oh, I have plenty of money and now I feel really comfortable. Like the first hire you make, you're never going to feel like you can afford it. But you can, and when you do finally make the leap, it's going to increase your output and increase your revenue so much, just because you can focus on things that actually make some fucking money.
Absolutely.
All right. So just to kind of wrap up the VA stuff, and then I want to getting into the personal brand stuff, what would be your like number one piece of advice for finding the right VA for your team, or the right virtual assistant, or the right team member for like what you're looking for in your company?
Yeah, great question. So what you want to do is you want to do that 3 lists to freedom exercise, because what will happen is you'll make the mistake that almost everybody makes when they start out if you don't do that exercise, and that is you're going to want to hire one person to do every business task in the world, and that's not possible. The analogy that I use is when you build a house, you hire an architect, a head contractor, and then they will then subcontract out the electrics, the bricklaying, the plumbing, the roofing, and all the rest of it. You wouldn't get your architect to do all those things because your house would fall down. He draws houses, he designs them, he doesn't build them, right? So, I call that the myth of the super VA. And we believe that one person can do all of our social media, all of our blog management, all of our podcast editing, all of our video uploading, all of our SEO, all of our content, all of our graphics, all of our web development.
Megan, are you having a heart attack yet?
Right, yeah, exactly.
It sounds familiar.
And
I know.
Honestly, it truly drives me nuts, because it's my biggest pet peeve as a guy who has made this kind of like part of his brand. Like, I know it's not possible. I've talked about it until I'm blue in the face, yet people still expect to be able to do it. So you can't do it. Let me tell you unequivocally right now, you cannot hire one person to run and grow your entire business. You've got to build a team. And so the first thing really is to do that 3 lists to freedom exercise, to figure out what you don't like doing, what you can't do, or that you're struggling doing. And then the really important one, and Megan, I saw you with a glass of wine there a minute ago. You might need a glass of wine for this one, is to sit down and figure out all the things that you feel you shouldn't be doing as the business owner. Maybe your time is better spent on more high-level activities like product design and development, launching, going to conferences and networking, spending more time with your top 20% clientele, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that 3 lists of freedom, people want to do it, chrisducker.com/3 lists, and they'll be able to go ahead and do it. There's a little video there and I walk you through it, but it's a very, very simple process. And that right there honestly truly does become kind of like the roadmap for you to start going into all these different roles that are available, and then getting started with hiring people. And there's lots of different places you can go to. I mean, obviously you can go to Virtual Staff Finder. I'm biased because it's my company, and we do a great job, but there's freelancer.com, there's guru.com, there's upwork.com. All these other companies and websites are very, very effective to be able to kind of dip your toe in the outsourcing water by just outsourcing a few tasks here and there before you're ready to hire somebody either part-time or full-time.
Yeah. And I do think, especially for people, while you're making those 3 lists, don't let like guilt hold you back. Because I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to have someone else have to do all these things that I hate doing, or they feel guilty about wanting to just do the more like high level stuff. And they're like, well, I feel guilty having someone else do all this like shit work or whatever. But I think removing yourself from any guilt.
I love that you've got a little bit of a potty mouth. I think this is so good. It's so good.
I love it. It's explicit.
Yeah, all of our episodes are explicit, so you can say whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter.
It's so good. There it is again. I love it. And that's just great. It's so good.
Well, that's just how we talk, because I'm from Boston. So.
Are you Boston? That's awesome. I'm a Celtics fan, so that's killer.
Oh, really?
It. Yeah. So I'm one of the.
Why?
Okay. So why are you? Why? Who do you?
No, I mean like you don't live in Mass.
Like, how do you even know who the Boston Celtics are? You're from England.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm one of the weird Brits that you'll meet that actually doesn't like soccer or football. I'm just not a fan of it. And I discovered basketball at the age of 12, and became a big fan of it. And quick little fun story, the reason why I became a Boston Celtics fan, and I only visited Boston like 3 times in my life, and I'd never visited it when I was 12 years old. I was watching a late night kind of highlight magazine type TV show, like a 30-minute thing at like 1 a.m., because that's when we get basketball on the TV in the UK, right? It's like, oh, we've got 30 minutes to fill up. Let's have a look at that. They're like, let's show that game that's played by men, where they bounce the ball, like netball, but they bounce the ball and they're all men kind of thing. You know what I mean? So,
yes. So
what happened was, it was like, God, I'm going to show my age now, 85, 85, I think, 86. And it was the Celtics versus the Pistons at the Garden. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I love this sport. I love playing it. I love watching it. I need a team. Like, I need to be a supporter of a team. My mum's from Dublin, Ireland. There's the leprechaun on the floor. That's it. I'm a Celtics fan.
Oh, definitely.
Right. And that's how I became a Celtics fan. And even in the 90s, when it was all about MJ and the Bulls, and we had no one. We had no team, right? It was like Paul Pierce was like the only guy that was, should have been on the floor. And honestly, like, that was it. That was kind of like... that was the dark ages of the Celtics. But yeah, I'm a big Celtics fan.
Well, you should come to Boston. I'll take you to a Celtics game.
Done.
Or a Red Sox game, or both.
I've been to a Sox
Patriots game. I like going to all those
now,
things.
You see, I've never done an NFL game before, so I might take you up on that one.
We've been to a couple of Patriots games. They're always a good time.
Okay, good.
Really fun.
Good.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that's super helpful. I think, anyone going through this process, make sure that you kind of remove yourself from feeling like, oh, I don't want someone else to have to do something that I hate. I think that you'll be surprised that you can hire someone that loves doing something that you hate. And that's kind of what's always surprising to me is, oh, there's someone who loves setting up lead boxes, or there's someone out there that like loves formatting blog posts. It's fun for them, but it's not fun for me. And you'll find someone that genuinely enjoys doing those things, even if that doesn't compute in your brain. Okay, so let's get into some of this personal brand stuff, because I go back and forth all the time about this topic of personal brand versus creating a more general like brand name for something. And I want to ask you about like Youpreneur and how that works with chrisducker.com and sort of why you decided to have this add-on to your brand and things like that. But, my audience knows that all of my companies and all of my websites are not my personal name. They're like a brand that I've created that has like a fun, memorable name or something. So what are the advantages of using your personal brand or using your personal name as your brand in your business? Like, why did you choose to do that so many years ago?
Well, okay, let's talk very quickly though about the fact that I would almost be 100% sure in saying that the very vast majority of people that follow your work and enjoy what you do at your businesses under different brand names are doing so because of you and the fact that you're in it. So whether you like it or not, you actually have a personal brand. We actually all,
much to my dismay, it's turned into that.
Right. But here's the thing. You should embrace it. Okay. Stop pushing it away. Embrace it. And I mean, genuinely, come here, my love. Just give me a little hug. You know what I mean? Like, truly embrace the personal brand, because I'm a big believer of my relationship building philosophy of P2P, which is people to people. You've heard of B2B, B2C and all that. Mm-hmm. P2P for me, I think, is the way everything is going to be going. I mean, everything. By 2020, Google has said that 90% of all content consumed on the internet is going to be video. 90%. 3 years from now. So people watching and listening, if you're not doing video already, jump on board and start right now so you can get a head start. You don't want to start in 2020 because you'll be right at the back of the queue. So why is that? Because people want to see what other people are doing. It's that simple. We're voyeuristic type of individuals as it is. And so the personal brand element, the reason why I focused, and this is very, very true, when I started blogging and podcasting, I was doing it at a brand domain of virtualbusinesslifestyle.com. Mm-hmm. So my whole deal was like, I wanted to take myself out of the business and be more virtual and live a more balanced lifestyle after hitting burnout. So that was the name of the domain. And it worked great. However, when I would meet up with people, when I would see me discussed on social media, or I would overhear, what this person said and what that person said, it was never virtual business lifestyle. It was always, Do you read Chris Ducker's blog? Have you listened to Chris Ducker's podcast? It was never virtual business lifestyle. Never. So I just said, well, I'm not going to fight this anymore. If people want to just know me for me as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a successful entrepreneur, then great. I'm just going to roll with that. So middle of 2012, we dumped the domain, we copied everything over to chrisducker.com. And from that day now, we've got over 600 blogs and podcasts on there. And we continue to create content on a weekly basis. So chrisducker.com is my hub. It's my home. It's where people find me for speaking gigs, for coaching engagements, for consultation gigs, investing, advising, all these different things that I now do as part of building my personal brand. And here's the thing. When I got my book deal, I didn't get it because I'm a great writer. I got it because of the following that I created through my blog and my podcast. Publishers, it was a traditionally published book. It wasn't self-published. They're not interested in you or your work. They just want your community. They want to know that if they print 10,000 copies of your book on the first run, that they're going to sell within 12 months. That's all they care about. And so the personal brand element for me is very, very, very important. Now, why did I create youpreneur.com and not just do everything at chrisducker.com? Very, very good question. I've got a great answer for you. It's hard to create legacy in your own name. You can do it if you're Zig Ziglar, if you're Richard Branson, if you're The Rock, who is one of my favorite. I mean, I don't think he's that good of an actor, if I'm to be very honest with you. But the way
I love Ballers.
Ballers actually is a really cool show. You're right.
Good.
But and I'm surprised. There's lots of swearing in that show, so obviously you like it. But I, what I like about The Rock as a personal brand is that he is him all the time. What you see is what you get. There's no smoke and mirrors. And that's what I like about him. So, it's hard, I feel, unless you're a really big brand, a really big name, it's hard to create legacy in your own name. So we opened youpreneur.com back in 2015. And I was like, this is going to be my life's work. This is going to be the next 10 to 15 years before I retire. This is going to be what I'll be able to hand off to somebody by the time I retire. And it's hard to do that with your own name. You know what I mean? So, that's not to say that the power of the personal brand is not very, very evident in today's society. We can see it. I mean, influencer marketing is personal brand, one-on-one right there, right? But the fact is that I wanted to create something bigger. I wanted to create something that had that potentially in the future, as and when I decide to flick the switch, can kind of develop its own journey, its own movement. And that's exactly what Youpreneur, for me, is. And I mean, we've got over 700 members now that are all around the world. We're putting together our first ever Youpreneur Summit live event, which is going to be taking place in London this coming November. And, I haven't even sent a single email yet, and we're already half sold out. I mean, it's insane.
That's amazing.
So it's about creating that tribe. It's about creating that family and being able to really take what I've been able to achieve as a personal brand entrepreneur up to the next level. There's only so much you can do in your own name, but I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't have developed that personal brand.
That was going to be my next question. First of all, I love that answer. Like, it is the golden nugget. It's hard to build the legacy on your personal brand, but in order to get to that point, you need to use your personal brand to build up your business and get to that point where then you start thinking, okay, what is this like legacy I'm going to leave behind?
Right.
That's such a good point. And that was going to be my next question is, do you feel like at a certain point, it's not like all of us are building businesses so that we can make a big exit and, sell it and leave for millions of dollars or whatever. But do you think that having the personal brand name can end up limiting your business? And I love what you've done, which is have the personal brand and then have all these like kind of spokes on the hub that you do have these other branded businesses. So you kind of just said that, but do you feel like a little bit almost like limited by where your name brand can go versus where those other things are like the sky's the limit?
I don't feel limited by it at all because it's at the very core of, that's what I call the Youpreneur ecosystem, is being able to build all of these different kind of spokes and offerings, its products, its services, its courses, its coaching, its speaking, its writing books, it's doing all those things. That's the Youpreneur ecosystem. I don't think I'm limited to what I can do under my personal brand. I mean, I believe that. Here's the thing, I see some people spending thousands of dollars on copywriters for their landing pages, for their products and their courses and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, 99% of the people that are going to buy your course don't even read the landing page. It's because
I know, they just like you on a live stream. All of our customers are like, oh, I didn't read anything. I just saw Mariah talk on a live stream and I connected with her and I just bought it.
So there you
Some people were like, I didn't even know you had a website. I just bought straight from Facebook Live. And I'm like, okay.
There you go.
It's
so,
crazy.
It's the perfect example of why video is going to become so popular. People want to see you.
Yeah.
They want to get to know you properly. But whether you're on your email list or it's a blog or it's a podcast or video or whatever, it doesn't matter. 99% of the people that buy what you put out are going to do it because they feel like they have an affiliation to you in some way already because of what you've done for them up to this point. It doesn't matter whether you just made them giggle on a live stream or because they've listened to one of your podcasts and the whole time they're like, oh my God, that's so me. Oh my gosh, that was me 3 years ago. It doesn't matter what it is. But the fact is that the vast majority of people will buy because of the relationship that they've got with you, that P2P relationship. They feel some kind of connection to you already. And so that's a big learning, that's a big lesson right there, rather, that, don't spend all this money on copywriting and all the rest of it. Just put together a great course. Just put together a great course and provide phenomenal value. And that's what we do with Youpreneur. We just focus on consistently over-delivering month in, month out. We have a very, very small churn rate. It's something I'm very, very proud of. When people join, they join pretty much, for a year plus, easy, before they disappear.
It's amazing.
Easy.
Most sites are like 2 or 3 months.
2-3 months on average, right. So, and that's
amazing.
why, that's why we had no reservations in dumping, tens of thousands of pounds as a deposit on the Queen Elizabeth Convention Centre next to Big Ben for our big live event, because I knew
it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be awesome. You guys should come.
I was going to say, are we invited? Let's go to London.
You should totally come
fun.
to London. Do you know they have the best fish and chips in London on the planet?
Yes, I know. I've been there a couple times.
Good.
But Megan, let's go. Let's make it happen.
We'll do a Euro trip.
We'll talk after. Awesome. So what would you say is like your number one piece of practical, like something someone could implement today, either on their website or on their social media channels? What would be your piece of advice for someone looking to build their personal brand or make sure that their personal brand is presenting professionally in the way that they want it to? What's like something someone could do this week?
One thing? Good gosh.
I know there's so many,
Yeah.
but if someone's getting started and they want to shine a light, I think so many people have fear of putting the spotlight on themselves. Like I never put a picture of myself on my website. Femtrepreneur didn't have any photos of me until like a couple months or even a year into having the website, because I was like, I didn't want it to seem like I was, I'm so, conceited, or I'm so like, look at me, I'm the best. Like I just hated that. So for anyone who feels that resistance, what would you tell them in terms of building their personal brand and showing themselves?
You got to do it. Yeah. I mean, I think that you need to be front and center. Everything I do is with that P2P mindset. Very specifically, I focus on putting myself front and center in everything that I do. You shouldn't be shy. You shouldn't stay behind, the curtains. You should pull them open and jump out and scare the crap out of everybody. I really, really feel like your business in this market, in today's world, has a better opportunity to succeed when you are front and center and right out in front of everything that you're doing. Because your brand is what people will end up saying about you when you're not around. So you think about it, right? When you're not at that convention, when you're not at that dinner party, when you're not at that coffee meeting, what people are talking about you, or the way that people are talking about you, that becomes your brand. That's your reputation. That's your very being as an entrepreneur. And so, the more you can put into it, the better it is, not only for you and your business, but for the people that you want to serve as well, because people want to do business with other people. So just put more of you in it. Oh, and here's one little practical little tip. Don't have different photos for your profile image on all of your different social media platforms. That's a pet peeve.
As I slowly
Are you seriously
cower
doing?
because
are
I
you
do that.
seriously doing that right now? Stop it immediately.
I just need someone to update it for me.
Mariah
Someone
changed her
else will
hair
do that.
color, so
It's true.
we have
I got a
outdated
hair.
photos.
It's true. I will have Bev do that tomorrow because that's something okay,
Make a
I'm
note.
going to be implementing Chris's advice this week, and that is a mistake I've been making for sure.
And I mean, think about it, right? You wouldn't expect, like, let's use Richard Branson and the Virgin Group. Virgin has one logo. It's that logo. It's everywhere on everything they do. It's the constant, similarity
Face
that you
is
can
your
get.
logo.
Exactly. So when you're building
Awesome.
a personal brand, your face is your logo. So it's got to be the same photo. By all means, update them on a regular basis, but update the same photo across everything.
All of them.
The same time. Like, this next 10 minutes, I'm going to be doing Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever it is, and just do it and then move on. It's a pet peeve. You can probably tell it drives me absolutely mad.
Don't look at any of my social channels yet. Just wait. Wait until tomorrow. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. We have a couple of rapid fire wrap up questions that we ask all of our guests that we kind of dive in a little bit, and then we're going to wrap it up. This has been like an amazing interview. I have so many things to think about and to implement.
And homework. And homework now.
And homework, yeah. So the first question is, what are you personally struggling with right now? Obviously, you're extremely successful, and I love that it seems like you actually have work-life balance, which not a lot of people do. But what are you struggling with right now?
I think the one thing I struggle with still is prioritization of projects, because obviously I have a lot of great ideas and I want to be able to serve my community in the best way that I possibly can. And sometimes it's hard for me to pick what to work on first. But I have one very, very strong rule in the way that I build out my calendar and my project house, as I call it, and that is that I only work on one project at one time. I don't juggle. I think multitasking is a myth. I just don't think it's possible for humans to do two things at once. And so I like to start something, work all the way through it to completion, launch, and help people and make money. Then work on project number 2, and so on and so on and so on. And so that, I think, is probably something, it's definitely something that I've struggled with for years. I'm going to continue to struggle with it. My project house right now, when I say it's a house, it's a shoebox, and there's little index cards in there with lots of ideas that I have for projects and courses and this, that, and the other. That little project house is something that will continue to be the bane of my existence, because like any entrepreneur, I want to do it all right now.
I know. I want to do it all and I want to do it now.
Exactly.
I struggle with that as well. So I totally hear you with that. I'm sure so many people listening.
But it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
It's a good problem to have that you've got all these things that you want to work on. There could be worse things I could be struggling with, but that's definitely my struggle. Yeah.
True. So what do you think is going to be the next big trend in online business, or sort of maybe a big change that we're going to see in online business, online marketing, or even specifically online courses? Any predictions for the future?
I got a good prediction for you. And that is that I believe that the whole multi-video launch, the whole product launch formula type thing is going to go the way of the dodo. I think people they've already wised up to it. It costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time and effort to put those videos together. And I know Jeff.
It does.
I know Jeff Walker pretty good. He's a super cool guy. And I think even Jeff will pivot and move things a little bit.
I know.
As well.
I was at PLF Live last week, and everyone was like, so when are we going to get a new PLF? And he's like, no, keep doing it.
Yeah. Well,
but,
look,
I love it, but we had a 3-part video series, but I can see the issues with it as well.
Well, look, here's the thing. It's like, if something's not broken, don't try and fix it, right? It's working now. But here's the thing. It's been working for a long, long time. And I don't believe that in today's world, it's going to carry on working for much longer. So I think what will happen is, like what we were talking about maybe 10 minutes or so ago, is that you'll see that you don't really care so much about the pre-launch stuff or the way that you build out a landing page. It's more the relationships that you're going to be focusing in on to make those sales and those launches so much easier. So maybe not go the way of the dodo. Let me retract that statement, Your Honor, but definitely change a lot in terms of how that pre-launch and that launch strategy will take place. And I think that ultimately it's going to end up being a lot easier for people to launch what they've been working on, because there'll be less stress and less work involved in it. And it's just a matter of kind of like getting it out there, and not any old crap, obviously, but I mean like putting together great courses and putting them out there with a live video launch. You know, when I launched Youpreneur, I did it on Periscope. Did it on Periscope.
Same. That's what I used Periscope, and then when Periscope went down, Facebook Live, and then we moved over to Facebook Live. But I was gonna say I can back up what you're saying with some numbers real quick from our last launch, where we had 3-part video series, spent a lot of time and money creating and producing that, and a lot of money driving traffic to it as well. But when we looked at the numbers at the end of the launch, we had about 3,000 people actually watch and go through the 3-part video series. And in conjunction with that, I do a Facebook Live every single day leading up to the cart opening. So for 10 days leading up to it, I'm just doing Facebook Live every day, answering questions, giving a tip, something like that. So the entire 3-part video series, 3,000 views. We did the 10 days of the Facebook Lives. Every single Facebook Live got between 10 and 12,000 views of the Facebook Lives. And every single person who buys, all the feedback we get is like, oh, I didn't watch the video series. I just watched you on Facebook Live. Like, I didn't even watch the produced videos. I just want to see you in your,
not
in
only
your
that,
office
but,
talking.
and let's not turn this into a show about Facebook ads, but I mean, the power of retargeting those video viewers is ridiculous. So, I understand exactly what you mean. I had no video on my sales page in January when we opened the doors to the Youpreneur Academy again. We're opening again in a couple of weeks from now. I have no video on my landing page. I also do a week or so's worth of live videos up to the launch. And then we retarget like mad. In fact, it worked so well for us in January that I'm quadrupling my ad spend for the next launch on retargeting video viewers, because it worked that well for us. So
I love this. Okay, we should talk about this at another time, because I have a lot of ideas about that.
Cool.
That's
Mastermind.
Really cool. I know. So we're going to wrap it up. This has been amazing. I feel like I have, 100 more. We could have part 2 and part 3 when you come back and do more interviews for the podcast.
Let's do it.
We've loved having you. So tell us anything that you're working on that you want our audience to know about, anything, new projects or things that our audience can check out, and where can we find you online?
Well, obviously, chrisducker.com, surprise, surprise, where you'll see the exact same profile image as I have on all my social media platforms. chrisducker.com is really the hub. It's where it's at. Obviously, there's Youpreneur as well, youpreneur.com, if anybody's interested in that. And, really, the big project for me right now is the Youpreneur Summit in November in London. That, for me, is very, as a Brit that hasn't been living in the UK for as long as I have, 16 years I've been away, this is my coming home celebration. We've got lots of surprises up our sleeves, and we've got an incredible lineup of speakers. Just our keynotes alone: John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, Matthew Kimberley, John Janst from Duct Tape Marketing, who's a legend in the business. That's just our 4 keynotes, and we've got a whole bunch of other amazing speakers over a 2-day period in London. It's going to be great. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see you guys there, but I'd love to see any of the Femtrepreneur, people over there as well, because when you have these kind of events that are put on by people that truly actually give a shit about what you're doing and that you want to provide a great experience, you've got to support those events. This is what I'm saying to my community. You have been calling on me to do an event in the UK for years. I'm doing it now. If you don't turn up, that's it. I'm not going to put on another one. So, it's kind of like one of those things where we need to support each other when it comes to these sort of types of things, because it's not easy to get all these people together for a 2-day period in London. It's a lot of time, energy, effort, and money to make it happen. I love putting on events. I love bringing people together. And so, I'm hoping that it's going to be a raving success. I'm pretty sure it will be. It's very early on and we're already half sold out and we haven't even done anything yet. So I'm feeling a little cocky and confident right now about it.
Well, that sounds amazing. And I hope that we can make it. Megan and I will have to look at our calendar and hopefully make it happen because that sounds really, really fun. And I know it's going to be a huge success. And thank you so, so much for spending your time with us today. This has been such a good conversation, so many good nuggets, and so much like actionable strategies that people can actually do, in the coming weeks, everyone who's been listening. So thank you so much, Chris.
It was all my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Chris has an awesome freebie for you guys today. It's called the Personal Branding Roadmap, and you guys can go and sign up for that at www.youpreneur.com/thefemshow. Definitely check it out.
And go to thefemshow.com/50 for the show notes to this episode and to find all of the links to the resources we mentioned, including how to get Chris's personal branding roadmap. And if you want to discuss this episode with us and our amazing community of online entrepreneurs, make sure to join our free Facebook group at thefemshow.com/community.
And if you like this episode, subscribe to the Femtrepreneur Show on iTunes and leave us a rating and a review because we love it when you do that. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then please leave a comment below with your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you guys. And remember to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, if you want us to answer your questions and give you a shout out on the show, just go to thefemshow.com, submit your questions, and we will see you guys next week.